Macau is this tiny piece of land right in the southern part of China. Actually, I'm pretty blind. Let's zoom it in. What are you doing? That's not nearly close enough. Perfect. You got it completely right. As you can hopefully see, Macau is partially located on a peninsula. The name is very, very complicated. Yep. Macau also consists of the island Taipa and Cologne, connected by bridges. The latitude and longitude of Macau is 22.1987 north, 1135439 east, I think. In more complicated terms, it's located 37 miles directly west from Hong Kong and has had quite a history. Fun fact that you probably forget 10 seconds from now. The Chinese name meaning Bay of Ama was named after the patron goddess of sailors, probably because it's located next to the water and not in a desert. Utilizing my unbelievably underappreciated unique deftness at MS Paint, I shall delineate an accurate chronicle of Macau's ubiquitous history. Since a few thousand years ago, Macau had people. Cool, right? China keeps changing dynasties and the region of Macau pretty much stays the same. Then the Mongols forced 50,000 or so Song people to go to Macau because they were scared. Then some fishermen go and it's basically an insignificant fishing village. On the opposite side of the planet, there are people. These people were explorers. These Portuguese used ancient water cars, also known as ships. So, using the power of ships, the Portuguese went to Macau. Actually, they went to this island called Linton Island, but using the rule of finders, keepers, losers, weepers, they claim it for themselves. Together, though, they used Macau as a port for trade and stuff. The Chinese got pissed off and kicked the Portuguese away. So, Portugal decides to help China beat up some pirates, and then China gives Macau to the Portuguese as a free reward for kicking the pirates' booty. JK, LOL. The Portuguese had to pay a good amount of silver to own Macau permanently. Not gold, but silver. They make their first Asian trading post. Some Catholics call it Jesuits come and feel like building some schools and churches. The Portuguese realize how cool a trading post is and start trading with India, Japan, China, and more. In the 1580s, some more Catholics, called the Dominicans, go to Macau and also feel like building some schools and churches. Oh yeah, some guy called King Philip II of Spain starts calling Macau the city of the name of God. Macau was a Portuguese port city in China, so what types of merchants were there? Portuguese and Chinese merchants. However, the Portuguese barely accounted for much of the population. They traded along three major routes, which included many other prominent cities and regions, such as Malacca, Goa, Lisbon, Guangzhou, Nagasaki, Manila, and Mexico. The route from Guangzhou to Macau to Nagasaki was the most profitable out of all of the maritime trade routes, due to the fact that the Portuguese were able to act as middlemen between the Chinese and the Japanese. They would ship Chinese silk to Japan and Japanese silver to China. Silk was a prominent commodity along trade routes, prized and profitable. Silver was used for the monetary system during the Ming dynasty, which is why China was so desperate for silver. Luckily, the Portuguese were able to obtain silver from Mexico and Japan, and profited largely due to that. Further, China banned direct trade with Japan in 1547, giving Macau a complete monopoly on trade with Japan and its products. Oh yeah, during Macau's first heyday, also known as what I'm talking about now, it was part of the Portuguese. No, it's not the golden age of Macau. Not anymore. Japan stopped trading with Portugal and so does East Asia, causing them to lose a lot of money. Suddenly, 20 years later, there is a battle. A battle called the Battle of Macau. Some Dutch boys attack and lose. The Portuguese decide to make a government but under the Chinese. Commerce in Macau is restricted to local trade, and some European traders and Protestant missionaries start chilling there for 100 years. It's 1841 and British people take over Hong Kong, which pretty much completely overshadows Macau, and Macau starts to suffer. A few years later, the Portuguese make gambling legal in Macau. Then, they declare it to be a free port, expel all of the Chinese soldiers and officials, and started to tax all of the rest of the Chinese citizens. And so, Macau became a port for Chinese slaves to go to Cuba and South America. The Chinese say, okay, and accept the Portuguese as overlords as Macau and the Treaty of Peking. It's now World War II. Macau became the only refugee center of South China. Now World War II is over. Macau becomes an overseas province of Portugal and they make a grand prix for themselves. Hong Kong and Macau make a non-crime syndicate. Riots occur because communism. Portugal got tired of dealing with Macau and tried to gift it to China but got rejected. Macau becomes Chinese territory under Portuguese administration, and the Portuguese feel like Macau is a dead cow. Macau goes international with their airport, the transfer of sovereignty gives China full control of Macau, and then Portugal realizes gambling is a thing and regrets their decision. Basically, at this point, American thingies make gambling places in Macau, and Macau gets rich and prospers, beats Las Vegas as the best way to indirectly prey on citizens' wages, and starts expanding. It's another heyday. Things getting spicy.